What's up, everybody? I'm Helen. This is the podcast. This is really the space for me to talk to musicians who I'm super intrigued by, people that make me go whose music makes me go And today I've been trying to get this brother on here forever, and he's finally here. Ndabo Zulu, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I have to make sure I get your name right.
Yeah,
give you that respect.
For sure. Thank you for having me. So crazy how you just shifted into this.
Into serious mode?
Yeah, like, hey, welcome.
These people don't know I'm a goofball. They're not supposed to know that. But thank you so much for coming through. Like, I feel like I watched you perform maybe a year ago, and I was just like, what is this planet, right? And I've been trying to really do deep dives and get into more of your music, and very happy to have you hanging out with me. But that's some of the stuff that intrigues me. What is one thing that has recently intrigued you? Something that's made you go,
With regards to the music?
Anything.
It's not recent. I think I just have themes that are growing in my mind that I'm trying to grapple.
Oh.
Yeah. Like even with sleep, I struggle to sleep because my mind is always thinking.
Really? Have you always been like that?
I don't know. I just started realizing it now. I think the older I get, because I get very tired.
Yeah.
But I realized that I never stop thinking. And the crazy thing about it, sometimes I don't know what I'm thinking. But I can feel that my mind is hard at work at something.
Really?
Yeah. But I think we all are like grappling with the notion of purpose, with our craft, with our being,
Yeah.
Thinking that what if you've wasted all of your life and what you're doing right now is not what you're supposed to be doing?
That is such a crazy thing for you to say.
You know what I'm saying? Thinking that all of these years that you've been alive, you've been doing something that you're really not called for. Fortunately, I don't think so.
Oh, because that's why I was like, no.
No, I don't think so. But with the music, I mean, with this growing theme of people branding the music as a certain thing that is supposed to do or serve a certain purpose to the society.
Yeah.
You then think, shouldn't my music be serving something as well? But I come to a conclusion, but I sometimes second guess that conclusion.
What do you think the conclusion is?
The conclusion is, I think I make music with the greatest of intentions behind, and I think it should do some good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it should do some good.
I can tell you that's good.
Yeah. I'm hoping it does some good. I mean, I get messages from people who listen to the music, especially during lockdown. I got so many messages, very touching messages, from people who said, I was thinking of doing this to myself, but I listened to this. I can share one story of a guy that I was in Maboneng. So when I came back to SA again, relocated back to SA
from Norway.
One of the first few weeks, I was in Maboneng, and there was like a jam session happening, and this guy came over to me running, and he gave me the biggest hug, and I thought, whoa, I don't know this guy. And he said to me, your music saved me. And I said, how? Then he told this really shocking story. He said he was driving and he was listening to Umgidi. At that time, I just released Umgidi ensemble, and got into a car accident with his infant daughter.
Oh my gosh.
But they came out of the accident without any scratches, but the music was still playing. They couldn't stop the music from playing with the guys who were helping them. And the music continued playing, but the car was... Yeah, for me. So, and I don't know if it's the music. He believes it's the music. I think I make the music with the greatest of intent behind, and I'm hoping it does. It does good,
That's so cinematic, which I know is one of your bags.
I know.
I feel like I've actually seen a scene like that where like the car is upside down, but like the tape is still going. And
for me, what was crazy is that they couldn't stop the music, and for me that was just so crazy.
Yeah,
it was just so crazy. And I see this guy quite often. I hope he doesn't think badly of me because I don't remember his name, but I see him quite often.
Yeah.
He's a frequent concert goer.
Yeah, that's so dope.
Yeah.
Just to touch on like what you're saying about, you know, putting intention behind your gifts, basically. Like I've also come to that place, and maybe it's an age thing, where I'm really like, what are you doing if you're not diverting attention away from darkness? Because there's so much that's telling all of us like how bad we are, how worthless we are, how etc. etc. But there's very few places where it's like you be a light, like with whatever your gifts are. Yes. But okay, very much not where I thought you were gonna go about what's intriguing you. But just to reset, I suppose, when you win 3 summers in one night, what is your after party like?
Pajamas.
Ah!
Crazy. It was deep lockdown.
This was the South African Music Awards where you took home 3.
Yeah. It wasn't one night because remember it was deep lockdown and they decided to separate the nights, I think into 4 nights. They like the Monday was a couple of categories, the Tuesday as well, the Wednesday and the Thursday. Yeah. I remember I was with friends because it was deep lockdown, and I told them I'm nominated for 3 summer. And let me maybe backtrack a bit how this whole thing happened. I just once again recently arrived and released this record, and I think from a friend of mine saying the deadline for the summers is this coming Saturday. It was midweek, and they said for submissions you need a certain number of copies for I think 10 copies for each category you apply for. Okay. And I'm like, damn, where am I? I don't have any copies. Like that record got sold out like in a short period of time.
It got sold out.
I had no copies. Yeah. And I thought, damn, on the day of the deadline, it was a Saturday, I remember very well. I was calling people who had bought the copies. I'm like, can I please borrow your copy? I'll give you another one after I reprint. You know what I mean? So I kept on calling people and I was driving around Joburg collecting copies. Finally, I had enough number of copies to then submit. Used copies. Right?
That's so cool.
Because it's people copies that I've signed, some, you know what I mean? So I collected those copies, submitted on the last, they were packing up at Misa on the last hour. I think they were closing midday. I submitted, and I never thought of anything, right? Then the nominations come out. I only could gather, I think, 10 copies, if I'm not mistaken, or 20. I can't remember. It's been a while. And I was hoping that I'm at least nominated for the Best Jazz Album. Okay. Right. I was just hoping for that. So when the nominations came out, it was 3 nominations.
Yeah. It was Best Jazz, right?
Best Jazz.
Newcomer.
And duo group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the nominations come out, and the people that are nominated with me, it's tough competition. I'm just like, nah, ain't no way. This, you know what I mean? The best I could really pray for is the jazz category. Yeah. You know what I mean? The first night I remember was Best Jazz and Newcomer. That was going to be announced. And other categories, of course. For Best Jazz, they announced. Then I had won it. Went crazy. I went crazy. Yeah. And after that, like a few categories later, they were going to announce Newcomer. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to watch this. I'm sure I'm not going to get this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because of how tight the competition was on that category. I just heard my friends screaming because they were watching the awards. Yeah. And I thought, nah, they're just pulling my leg. You know what I mean? I didn't even want to go close to the screen because I thought, nah, I didn't get it. And it turned out I did. So that first night I won the 2 awards. Yeah. It was a crazy night. And the best duo group was even tighter. You must know when you were with Maskandi in the same category and gospel, like you had to pray really hard. And when the third one came, I couldn't believe it. So I was very grateful for that year and for that record and the contributors for that record.
Yeah.
And the initiative of being pushed to record Mkhize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. I had no idea that was the story.
Yeah.
Did you give back the copies to the people who... Do you owe some people?
Hey, Skara, did I give you back your copy? I don't remember.
Put it in the comments if he didn't give you back your copy.
I can't remember. I probably did, but I can't remember really.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you're saying like when you're in a category with gospel and maskandi, you know, because typically if Zulu, you will be in that category.
Yeah.
You know, so as Zulu was going to win anyway. And you know, when I was coming up with these questions, I was like, this sounds super cheesy, but I've literally never met someone that I could ask this. But when you are living in KZN and the Z is for Zulu, and your surname is Zulu, do you feel like Gugin, like the whole province, is like...
That is
the most Zulu thing you could ever say. But what is that like? Because I get this perception that like if that is your surname, you genuinely feel like you come from this lineage and we're all royalty.
I don't feel like I know I do, but it's something I never think of. I think lineage also has its own weight, and I think I have my own path and journey to carve, you know, and I can't cling to that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm Zulu. For me, it has never really been a thing.
Yeah.
I know when we were growing up, my father like used to make my little brother and I play games where who says the most easy Tagazel would get like money and all of that, and but for me, it has never really been a thing. I'm very proud to have the last name Zulu, but yeah, it's never been a thing I've carried around. That hey, I'm Zulu respect, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna hide behind my audience right now because you know some of them are not from South Africa. You know, we worldwide.
Sure.
If Isibongo Sakho is Zulu, does it mean you're related to Shaka Zulu?
Well, with the Zulus, you can't just claim that you're Zulu.
Okay.
You also can't just claim and wake up the following day and say, I'm Ngumthetho. I mean, you know, there must be like some sort of trace.
So you are.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
You thought there are some people who are just called Zulu? No,
I don't know.
Who just woke up and were called Zulu?
No, I figured there is a central figure and there are other people, but historically he doesn't have children, right? So, like, I don't know. I
don't want to get into that, but yeah. If you ask her offline, if you ask me, maybe I might tell you a different story.
Okay. Yeah. Or maybe I must just watch Mzansi Magic and like, you know, watch that Ushaka Ilembe.
If you ask me offline, I'll tell you.
Okay, sorry guys, I tried. But I like that your dad was, you know, instilling this pride in you, right? And I feel like when you're a kid, I don't know too many kids who are necessarily like, I want to play trumpet. But you picked it up very early in your teens, right? Like, what is it that led you there as opposed to any other instrument or like soccer or another kind of like extramural?
I played soccer. Till almost semi-professional.
Oh, really?
I played soccer. I did. And I had to choose at some point what I go for, music or soccer. But answering your question with regards to the trumpet, like, there was nothing special. I wish, and every time I'm being asked on interviews, like, I wish I had a special story. And I always say this every time someone asks, I wish I had a special story.
Yeah.
I wish I dreamt something. You know, I wish I felt a calling. I liked things, I think, as a kid. And the trumpet, because I started playing at a marching band, and the trumpet carries the melody. So, and in that marching band, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
And in the hierarchy, I remember there was a guy called Mtutuzi. Everyone was speaking about Mtutuzi. Mtutuzi is a guy who, when we are doing those formations, then at the end, he stands right in front and we're standing in a triangle, and Mtutuzi has this one solo where he shines. And he's wearing this white uniform, and we are all wearing navy. And I was just like, I want to be like Duduzi, where everyone could just be like, you know, Ndabo, you know what I mean? And I think that's how I picked it up. And there's really no special story about it. I just wanted to shine.
Yeah,
I just wanted to shine as a kid, you know.
And it kind of full circles the, like, what are you doing with your gifts, right? Because Duduzi could have been someone who's doing the worst things, but kids are looking at him and going, I want to do that. But instead, he was doing something that makes you want to shine. That's so interesting, because I feel like Hugh also was a teenager when he picked up the trumpet, well, when he was gifted a trumpet. And I always feel like we have two celebrities in South Africa, really, like where you can put them anywhere in the room atmosphere, you know? Actually, maybe three now, but Hugh, Bonang, and maybe Tyler now.
Still living?
No, in general, like, I don't think we have celebrities in this country. We have three.
No.
And it's who is like the celebrity of this country?
Above all of the three you just counted?
Yes.
Makeba.
Yes, but...
No, there's no but.
You know why I'm saying but? Because she's extremely important, especially to musicians. Yeah. But I feel like Bonang could be in ShopRite and it would be like, oh my gosh. And she could be in, like, I don't know, the Palace of the Lost City. Oh my gosh.
I think if you're talking about that now, sure. But stardom, there's no one who's even scratched what Mamire Makeba did.
Okay, I'll give you that.
She's you know, everywhere you go. I've had the privilege of really traveling, and everywhere you go, everywhere, to a point sometimes people don't really know that she comes from South Africa. That's how big she became.
And I mean, you don't get called Mama Africa for...
Oh, man.
Okay, I concede. There's 4 celebrities. It's fine.
There's the mother of celebrity.
Speaking of mothers, I feel like we've spoken a little bit about Ushaga as a person, but also like as a figure, right? But your album that you won these awards for, I want to read the whole thing. It's called Queen Nandi, the African Symphony, right? And my understanding is when we say Queen Nandi, we're referring to Ushaga's mother.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So how does she then become this titular? How? Why did you want that to be the title?
Because by virtue of the fact that I'm commemorating the album to the Queen Mother, I'm also commemorating it to Isilo himself. Because without the mother, the Isilo is not the king, right? And we all know that. She was a very strong woman, and not necessarily physical strength, but after everything that she endured and raising a kid whom she didn't even know was eventually going to become king, but had so much faith that one day I'm raising a king. Yeah, takes so much courage. Yeah. Moving from one household to the next, hiding from, you know what I mean, and raising this person, telling them that they're king when they are not even like allowed to utter those words, and raising them to actually be the king, and not just the king, like the king who then unites this big and powerful dynasty. I had to really start there, and by virtue of that, it trickles down to Isilo himself.
Yeah. So interesting, because what you're describing makes sense, right? But how do you even come to that's what I want to center this on?
I mean, like myself, I think my influences come. Let me rephrase this. Most of my influences come from my mom. I'm raised by a very strong woman. She was not a single parent. My dad was present, but my mom was very strong. And I didn't want it to feel like I'm taking sides where I'm just like, this is for the woman. It's not. It's for the nation. And the mother was so strong. I think if it's just, I'd be lying to you if I'd say to you I know literature that really celebrates and speaks about the Queen Mother herself, so that you could understand like how strong she was. For me, a lot of people know who King Shaka is. We all know who Isilo is, but the mother, man, it didn't take so much for me to think about it.
Yeah.
And especially recording the album in the fashion that I did, with songs that are going up to 20 minutes. You know what I mean? I am at the back of my head. There was never a moment and point where I said people are going to disregard this body of work because, like, it's so long. It's unconventional. The very same way the Queen Mother. I don't think at one point she thought this is not going to be a king.
Yeah.
Raising, you know what I mean? So with such change that I'm not going to say introducing, because introducing means that you're waiting for recipient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't introducing, but doing what I think I would like to do and what I believe the world should hear.
Yeah.
The very same way what she believed the world should see from her son.
And she wasn't asking for your permission, just like you're not saying,
precisely.
I need you to like it. You're like, I'm presenting something.
Precisely.
And I like that you mentioned what you want the world to hear, right? Because the context with which this album is made is that obviously you grew up in KZN, and then you get a scholarship and you move to Norway. Or how do you end up in Norway?
So I moved to Norway. As I mentioned earlier, I was a part of a marching band. It was called the Field Band Foundation. And they had this 1-year exchange program between Norway and South Africa, where like 4 South Africans go up to Norway, 4 Norwegians come down. South Africans go around teaching Norwegian schools South African music. Norwegians do the same here, and theory and technique, the likes. And I went there. Usually that's a 1-year exchange program. So you go there for a year and come back home. So while I was there, I really liked the country. I liked that there were so many brass specialists in Norway.
Yeah.
I liked the education structure. And the fact that education is free. So it meant that I could go study there and finish all my degrees, come back with 0 debt. Right?
Yeah.
So, but the only challenge was it's very difficult to be accepted in those universities. So basically when you go there, they could take anything from 1 instrument to 2 instruments of the same kind. So if you are 50 trumpets auditioning, they might take just 1.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and I practiced that whole year. I used that whole year, of course, to fulfill the mandates that I'm sent up for. But at the same time, I was really practicing to try and see if I'm able to audition for these universities and get accepted. And luckily that year, I got accepted to 2 very prestigious universities.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And basically, and that's how it started. And it gets even more interesting because after I got accepted, now the only hurdle was visa. Because even though tuition is free, it's still very expensive to live there.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to get a student visa, you need to have a certain amount of cash in your account to show the government that you're not going to be a burden while you're in Norway. You'll be able to fend for yourself, right? So I had to ask for, I know it in Norwegian, what is it called in English? Like for leave. So I had to ask for permission to only start the following year so I could use this year to raise money.
Okay.
But that basically meant to the university, they need to keep that slot open, which is very rare that they grant you that.
Yeah.
Because it means that we've accepted you, so now the following year, we're not going to take.
So that's a vacant seat.
Yeah, exactly.
That we're saving for you.
Yeah, so it's like, it means that next year, we have to regard the fact that we have you who is going to start first year again, which means with the first years, we might not take the same kind of instrument. And I was taking a chance. And when they accepted it, I was like, okay. Then I had to come back home. Man, that was a struggle. Damn, my dad had
You were a
just
struggling
retired.
musician?
No, I mean, I had to raise the funds. My dad had just retired. My mom had retired as well. and I needed to have so much money in my bank account so that I could start studying. But by God's grace, that was possible, and that's how it started.
That's so cool.
Then later on, I had, of course, even not even later on, that very same year, I don't know if you know Richard Koch, the conductor.
Sure.
He conducts usually the R&B Starlight concert.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's got a foundation. They funded me with a portion of the amount, and the rest came from. The story is so crazy. I don't think we have enough time in this podcast for me to tell you how crazy it was.
Well, shout out Rich and everybody who helped, because it worked out, right?
Because I had like almost zero from Monday, and they'd given me a deadline at some point. I remember they said on Friday, if I don't have this money, then I lose my position at the university. I remember by Thursday I had more than what I needed.
Oh wow!
Crazy. But I'll tell you the story some other time.
Okay, that's incredible, dude. And I guess like the whole world gets to then hear this body of work, right? And it's your album, but it's you and the Umgidi ensemble. And if you just go to the DSPs, you'll see like there's a lot of like really renowned artists that you're playing with from various genres, I suppose, like just really incredible people. So is everyone in the ensemble? Like, who is the ensemble?
Everyone is in the ensemble.
So if we're playing your music, then we are the ensemble. And then if you play, like let's say you play with Shane Cooper, you'd be part of his ensemble.
Yeah, okay. If Shane Cooper is the
it's his album.
Yeah, then it's Shane Cooper's album.
And you are the ensemble. Like, is what I'm saying making sense?
No, I hear you. It was very symbolic as well with the wording, right? Because remember, Umgidi is the doer.
Okay.
Ugugida is the act.
Yes. So, okay. You're unlocking something in my mind. Because I think colloquially, we say Umgidi as in like an event, like a celebration.
Okay, that's a language thing, because I think usually kwaXhosa about Umgidi, right? But Tina, KwaZulu, Ugugida is the action, right?
Yeah.
Umgidi is the performer, the person doing the action.
That's so cool.
Right.
Okay, so you're saying it's symbolic because everyone who's in the ensemble is a doer.
Yeah. So, and also Umgidi ensemble is not, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is personality locked. So which, where I say if so and so is not a part of the ensemble, then it's not that ensemble anymore.
Okay.
The body of work that is prescribed or composed for this ensemble is called Umgidi.
Okay.
So whoever plays that is a part of Umgidi.
Okay.
Whether I interchange Skakane for someone else, it's still Umgidi, because that's the body of work that we're performing.
Okay. Why did you want to call it Umgidi Ensemble? I think you were starting to explain, and then
it's one of the things I've been thinking in the car coming up. And actually, I think we touched a bit on it. We just didn't go in depth with it, Like I'd explained to you, because of, first and foremost, you need to remember that this album was my master's dissertation, right? And as you had mentioned earlier, that I'm part of academia. I started just a bit at work to speak about the fact that we need to, we have our KPAs, right? And part of them is research.
Yeah.
Either research input or creative output, right? Research output or creative output.
Okay.
Creative output, I don't necessarily, because then you have an annotation in your creative output, right? I do not necessarily, in my creative process, think I need to reflect on what I'm doing.
Okay, you're going to lose us.
No,
right?
I'm going somewhere with this.
So, but just to reset for everyone, you're saying within your master's dissertation, you choose to either do like a theory, so a research paper type thing, or like a practical, Or is that what you're
No, I'm
saying?
talking about academia at large now, because I
Yes.
want to answer the reason why you're asking me why I called it Umgidi,
Yes.
right? For the mere fact what I said, Ugugita is the action, Umgidi is the doer.
Uh-huh.
And the music that we are playing there is music that's usually, so we took themes that are usually sung in ceremonies,
Okay.
and we placed them in what you could call, I don't know, world music, jazz, I don't know, whatever. There's no genre for that music, really, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, where I was going with this, beyond that, I don't think there should be some profound explanation that, you know what I mean? So where I was going with this is that sometimes I just create.
Yeah.
And I
So
think
when
that
you're
should be
saying there's no
okay.
annotation.
No, and I think that should be okay. You know what I mean? Sometimes us as creatives come to a platform like this and feel the pressure of wanting to sound more profound than the work itself, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the case where someone really thought about it and thought, I really want this to be the name. And sometimes, no, I just created.
Yeah.
Right.
So your answer to why did you call it that is I just created.
Yeah. I just, even with the music,
Yeah.
some of the music, there's really no pain behind it, no joy, no love felt. You know, I just woke up and I had a melody.
Yeah.
And most of my music, to be honest with you, there's no profound meaning behind it.
Yeah.
I have some where it's pain there, confusion there, you know what I mean? And the titles for those songs are very like descriptive and spot on, where you're not gonna wonder what it means.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I was talking to my partner and I was telling her that excuse me, I think a lot of people have gifts where their gift is to reflect. I think my gift is right here, where sonically I project my all sonically, and I feel I don't need to say more.
Yeah. I love everything you said because I feel like it's going to liberate a lot of artists in a variety of experience level, but also genres and all of that, right? Because I think you might be like the third person I've interviewed, excuse me, where we've spoken about this thing of like, sometimes I don't have like a reason, you know, and sometimes they feel like they're disappointing me. Like, no, I just said what I said. But what I was often saying to them is like, I feel like it's a great intersection for us as people who talk to musicians and reflect what the music is saying, as well as musicians, because it means we need to start engaging differently.
Exactly.
And it means then maybe there are no podcasts. Maybe there's no interview, or it's a different, like there's an evolution that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think so too. And what I think there are podcasts, right? Because should you speak about the sonic, then we have a conversation. You know what I mean? Then I can tell you the process.
Yeah.
And there's a whole thought process that I had to go through to get to points. I don't believe in point Z, but to get to a point where now this is presentable, right? Because it's forever evolving, right? But then when it comes to me sitting down and saying, what is the meaning in words, right? Because sonically, sure, I can tell you, but in words, like, I felt this, and so I didn't know. I don't operate from that point, and that doesn't necessarily mean that then my music is less or has less worth than the person who then can sit here and tell you that my music, the reason why I thought of this is because of that, and speak about no. So for me, I really focus on just the craft, so much about the craft that if you were to speak a word and tell me what that word means to you, I possibly can then put it into the sonic. Then I can tell you why I chose that and that and that and that to make it embody what you just told me.
Yeah.
So you have a podcast there.
Yeah. I also think the onus is on us as people who aren't musicians to, I use this word because I don't have another one, but to upskill, right? Because I think a lot about like, I want to study music, but I don't want to study music to become a musician. I just want a wider vocabulary, because there are things that I think about, like I'm trying to articulate to you about what you made that has no lyrics. And I want to talk to you about that, but I feel very limited in my ability to do that.
I get you for sure.
Yeah.
And I think also we sometimes tend to make this thing a whole lot complex than it really is. You know, if the music really brings some sort of healing, if a doctor comes to you and made your healing so complex, you might end up maybe overdosing, taking the wrong medication. It's not that difficult, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're saying your music brings healing, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
You know? And we have people who have a great ability of sonically telling a story and also are great storytellers who can carry you through. And that's a gift on its own, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit here and want to possess that gift knowing very well. I do not have it.
Yeah.
I am just, I hear sounds. Like I'm constantly just wanting to do something with sound.
Yeah. I think there's a great marriage of what you just described, right? Like of people who can tell a story sonically and then people who can also story tell. Because with Umgidi ensemble, everyone brings what they bring, right, to your compositions. But there's also like the voice as an instrument and like what is being said lyrically. And I was thinking about like something you mentioned earlier, that it's hard to decenter King Shaka from the Queen Nandi story. Where did I write it? Let me see. I think it's Nontokozo who's singing about Ikawe Lamakawe in Nandi's suite. First movement. Yeah. Because there's a lot of Nandi suites.
Of course.
And then everyone else is singing Ushaka Gashaig. So can you tell me specifically about that first movement and those words and the story that is being told there?
Okay. See, now I can unpack it. Sonically, sure, I have a story to tell. Yes. So that first movement is actually divided into 3 sub-movements, right? The first one, when we start playing, we introduce it with that first instrumental segment. Then Mkhize comes, Babumbuso. Then she says, and then he says, Njomane, right? That's Nandi, right? And if you listen to what the drum plays there when the piano goes dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da, that's like a very odd time. Then the drum comes gigi 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 in 5. You get that in isiZulu. The Zulu drum goes gigi gigi gigi. You've heard that, right?
Yes.
Right. But we then play that in 5. Then the first commemoration is to Queen Nandi herself. Then later on, when you say Ikawe Lamakawe, right? That's then to when you say Ushaka Gashaig or Notu Mkhize Gament, that's the third sub movement within one movement, which is the first movement. So if I divided that into 3. The first one is because the melody comes when the melody comes after Babumbuso has introduced Queen Nandi. We come in I don't know how complex I can get with this. The feel of that 5 is triplet, but the horns when they come in straight square 5. So, because we are introducing what's going to come later. But later, that fades out to then become that Usuku, then we say Ushaka Gashaig later on, right? So that was very deliberate because it was, like I had mentioned earlier on, part of my master's thesis. And the reason why I'm saying this is that initially I'm probably now taking liberty of deviating from your question, but
no, it's a conversation. Go ahead.
Part of the reason why I ended up with Umgidi or Queen Nandi's African Symphony as my master's dissertation, my initial proposal was I had a Norwegian sextet which I played with, which was called Zulu Sextet. And when I came to South Africa, I thought I would like to play this music with my friends here, who are great musicians as well. But when we played this music, it sounded different. Even how I interpreted the music was very different. So that intrigued me. I was like, but every time I listen to the recordings with the South African unit, as opposed to the Norwegian unit, it sounds like day and night. And it's me who is conducting the rehearsals. I wrote the music, but it's And that was my proposal. I wanted to figure out what causes that.
Yeah.
What are the influences behind the difference between the two units, right? And I thought, naturally, I'd have to start home. So when I was accepted at the Norwegian Academy of Music, I thought maybe I'll start home. I'll go back in history and figure out what the, As I was researching, I then come to a point where things just go blur, right? Because you go back and listen to Amahub, or you go back and listen to Princess Makoko, then you go forward and all of a sudden comes this choral phase.
Yeah.
Right? And I had this conversation. I was consulting with a lot of people, and one of the closest people I was consulting with was Dr. Nduduzo Makatini. And we get to a point where there's this now very heavy choral phase, where even when we speak about people like John Langa Libalele Dube at another seminary, they were singing. And there's a sister called Asanda. She wrote a book about Nokusiz, I think.
Okay.
Oh man, please don't put this in because I'm not sure what it was called. But anyway, you then get this choral phase that then spreads out, that people are learning tonic solfa and all of that. Then all of these instruments are disregarded. So the more research I do, this is my opinion, by the way, the more research I do, I then realize that when the missionaries came down and people that are called the colonizers, came down, they came down with this music, right, which has tonic solfa, very charged with Western influences. And of course, then if you understand this music, it means that you're closer to the colonizer, which places you slightly up in the social structure. So which means that people thought, I need to go learn who Mozart is.
Yeah.
I need to go learn what Do Re Mi Fa So is. You know what I mean? Then we have this distortion where we then end up with this genre of music that's called South African jazz. A person might think it really takes and borrows from actual indigenous South African music, which it doesn't. Because if you speak about the 145 and you tell me that's South African, it's not. That's a straight up classical or Western cadence.
Yeah.
We learn about it.
Yeah.
That's a straight up perfect cadence, and it's used in classical music, right? And I thought, I think I would like to change my proposal from what I had proposed to something else, to now saying the least I could do right now, because I don't know much, and I didn't want my study anyway to be quantitative. I wanted to do like a qualitative study.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to borrow some themes. I'll take these themes, I'll marry them with something in hopes that this is going to evolve. Whatever that something could be hip hop, could be whatever, but I'm going to try and revive these themes. Because, I mean, when you think about it, in the olden days, people didn't write things down. One of the strongest mediums of storytelling was song.
Oral. Yeah.
Right? And inganegwane and all of that, and song. And even the praises sometimes, even the events themselves are in songs, right? So which means that when people then decided to disregard all of this music, we're losing so much of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I had, fortunately, Obaba Mbusokoza as part of the ensemble, who carries so much information and so much knowledge. Like, who better to be a part of this and as a guiding force in this thing that we're trying to create than Babu Mbusokoza, right?
Yeah.
Then we have Babu Mbusokoza. We write this music, we marry it together with this so that it is now palatable. Because, I mean, music has been evolving, even jazz itself has been evolving, but this music has been left in a certain way. And there's quite a niche market that could just listen to it in its rawest form, right? So how do we then revive that? That was the first phase. The second phase was to then say people, even in orchestras, could invite a person who plays umakwana and can read music and say, I've written it down for you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that what they've written for umakwana allows umakwana to express itself to the fullest. Because this music was catered for Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, which umakwana is not tuned in.
Yeah.
So which means that we need to find an alternative method for all of these indigenous instruments that we have in this country, for them to express themselves to the fullest, right? Without disregarding tonic solfa or staff notation, because it's been working for centuries.
Yeah.
We can't disregard that work that has been put behind. you can always borrow from and hope that our instruments as well could now be at the same league and could be written for and express them fully. That was going to be the second strategy I've spoken. So
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. And I think it also begs the question of, is it an ongoing exploration, or do you feel like, and then we found the answer?
It is an ongoing exploration. I mean, I've been speaking about this ever since, even while I was doing my master's dissertation. So already in 2017, I was speaking about this. I even spoke to my supervisor that for my PhD, I would like to do this.
Come on, doctor.
And it's, I think I might end up going down that route where I think in the vocabulary of music notation, we need to, for us to be able to document all of this music. The reason why Mozart is still played like Mozart it's very subjective if it's still played like they did then.
Yeah.
The reason why Vivaldi is still played like Vivaldi, or at least very close to how they played it, it's because it is documented. But if you go on Google now, or if you go anywhere and ask who plays ukupu now, like online, like a professional, authentic ukupu player, we don't have any.
Yeah,
they're extinct, right?
Yeah.
So which meant that any of the music that was written for ukupu, and luckily we have people once again like Ubaba Mbosokoza who still live and carry so much information. It means that at least we still have a chance of saving that music.
Yeah.
But for us to save it, we need to kind of create a certain way of notating for this to the fullest. But the people who play this instrument are quite old,
Yeah.
right, who've been playing this. So now to take Ukoko and say, Koko, this is a crotchet, and teach them all of these, we need to now adapt to what they're saying, right? How do you learn this? Because they have phrases that they use when they are learning this instrument. What are those phrases? Then we then implement them in this notation system so that we are able to write them down, that Ukoko ngiyakwazi ukumthatha and sit with her on stage and give Koko a score, which is not going to be foreign to her.
Yeah,
she'd be looking at. Exactly. So which means that Mrs. Helen, if she then decides she wants to pick up ukupu, she will learn these terms as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the terms that when you listen to terms or like performance directions on the charts, it's like poco a poco, little by little. There's nothing significant about that.
Yeah.
So uthi kancane kancane ngibhale kancane kancane.
Yeah.
Even if an American chooses to pick up ukupu, they must know kancane kancane in this it means whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the direction I was hoping I'm going to go.
I think you're also in such a unique place in the sense that you obviously have this experience of living in different parts of the world, like quite tangibly being in a different part of the world, but also like the music bags that you play in are not just, oh, I want to make sure that our authentically African instruments are being represented. It's also like what you were saying about you guys looking at the evolution of music and getting to this choral part. You are also quite involved in other genres, right? Like I'm thinking about a song called Jesus. Why are you laughing?
No.
By Nontokozo,
Nontokozo,
Mkhize. And on that song, in my mind, we come from this like hyper Zulu focused, I don't have the word for this, but we know you for this and you're very interested in this and you want to put that at the forefront, that kawe la makawe part. And then we also have on this side, Jesus is kawe la makawe. For you, like, do you consider that subject matter when you're collaborating with someone, or to you, like, it's all you?
For me, it's all me, right? I don't think in my head there's any division between Kawe la makawe and Jesus, right?
Okay.
In the sense that I'm not saying that they are equal.
So you're not saying King Shaka and Jesus are equal, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Never. It's impossible. I'm not saying they're equal, nor am I putting them like on a scale where I need to discover who's bigger, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm still Ndabo Zulu, and that will never change.
Yeah.
I'm still the lineage of King Shaka. That will never change.
Yeah.
And I'm still Christian at the same time, and that will never change.
Yeah.
Right? But the subject matter in both these instances. I'd be lying to you if I say I sat down and I thought once again, and I thought they're speaking about Jesus here, and I wrote about. And you know the thing, the sometimes the issue with this is that we as humans, even going back to the topic of genres.
Yeah.
The reason why we have genres is because we as humans lose it if you can place something somewhere. We need a box.
Yes.
All the time there should be a box. You know what I mean? And in my head, I lose it if you put me there and you want to leave me there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just want to wander.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And see what happens there, and see what happens there, and see what happens there. And I think that's how evolution comes.
Everyone loves genres except musicians. It's only musicians who are like, why? Why do we? I agree with you. I'm with it.
Yeah. And for me, I don't only say it on podcasts,
yeah,
on interviews, that I actually do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, and also with us as musicians, there's this repercussion that comes from not following that type of rule that we think has been set up. I don't think there's any.
No.
I think if you make good music, you make good music.
Yeah.
If I decide tomorrow I'm going to wake up and make reggae and it's really great reggae, I'm going to be a successful musician.
I mean, you're halfway there.
You know what I mean? Or if I decide, for an example, like the projects I just did with Lady Sweet Black Mambazo and Soweto Central Chorus, that's like a hybrid type of gospel.
Yeah.
I'm also giving it my all there. I'm trying. For me, it's just the music.
Yeah.
First and before anything.
I want to talk about that a little bit because that is actually the song that made Dylan, who works with us, go like, oh, this is really good. And we'll talk about it in a second.
Sure.
But I was sharing with you that like for a while now, I've just been living with your music, you know, if I'm like doing something in the kitchen, whatever. So I'm not looking at Spotify and, you know. So when this song came on, the Jesus song, obviously like her voice is incredible. So you're listening, but I'm also listening out for the trumpet. Is it my ear or there's no trumpet?
There's no trumpet. Okay.
Because did you bring the vocoder? What is that thing called? The Habli? What is it?
Talkbox.
A talkbox.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the same thing with Umgidi. But before we move on, Nontokozo is for me. With music, I just resonate with gift because there's a difference between gift and a talent.
Yeah.
Right. A gift you can't cultivate.
Yeah.
You can't wake up today and say I want to have a gift. But a talent you can cultivate. Right. If you work really hard, and I know so many hardworking musicians where when they started they were just okay, and then like one of my closest friends was the hardest working musician I know, Martin Nodeland. And he just grew right in front of us, spending hours in the practice room, and he became this beast of a guitarist.
Yeah.
But anyway, you were speaking about...
like when people think about you, right, they can think about a trumpet, right?
Yeah,
but
trumpet.
I know you play a variety of instruments. Yeah. So when somebody says they featured you and then you don't hear the trumpet, like it's interesting, like, okay, where are you in this? Yeah,
for me, I think because like, for example, on the song Jesus, I'm playing all of the instruments that you're hearing.
Really?
Yeah. So I think my contribution is enough then. It doesn't necessarily have to be the trumpets in the forefront for you to know that I contributed somehow.
Yeah.
So everything instrumental you hear on the song, I play it.
Yes. Because you're a producer also.
Yes.
That's a wild thing for me to try and wrap my head around. Oh, and maybe it's because I'm not a musician, right? Yeah. Because I think... I'll use like singers as an example, right? If I just close my eyes, I know what Miriam Makeba sounds like, right? So even somebody who primarily plays an instrument, I want to see them, you know? And if somebody introduces themselves as a producer, like Jay Dilla, like you know what he sounds like. So like I guess I was looking for
I got you.
Your voice.
For me, composition is a voice. And I lean towards that voice strongly.
Yeah.
And I think I've answered. There's a great journalist by the name of Gwanelo Sosibo, an amazing journalist. He says to me, on Queen Nandi, we hear you on most songs, in fact on almost all the songs, taking a solo,
Yeah.
but not in a conventional way where you would be very dominant. Then I asked him a question. I said, "But Kwanele, did I not write the music? Did I not orchestrate the music? Is that not me throughout the whole album?"
Yeah.
And he said, it's me. And I said, why do I need to then superimpose myself into the record when I have such great contributors in the record?
Yeah.
Why am I depriving people listening to a different voice than the voice they've been listening throughout the whole record? Because in the ensemble, there are great contributors.
Yeah.
And why not allow them to contribute? Because I've already contributed. And I even take a solo on top of that, on top of what I have written, because that's my voice as well.
Yeah.
The trumpet can never be my only voice. In my world, the trumpet is not my only voice. It can never be my only voice.
Yeah. That's so interesting. And I feel like there's we're having different experiences because we're on two different sides of the song. But like speaking of the collaborators, right? The song we all love, Usuku Oluzayo, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Soweto Central Chorus of the Salvation Army, you, and Terrace Martin, right? And I think most of my audience would know Terrace Martin from working with Kendrick Lamar, play sax. That's not a like, hey, put together, artists, and then it has to be very intentional. So how does that song come about?
So when we were working on this project, it's still going to drop. We recorded and everything.
How? Like, who decided I want to do this and I'm bringing other people in? Like,
okay, Manzini Zungu, who's the founder of Soweto Central Chorus, decided that we've been speaking about it. Okay, first, the reason why I was so confident in coming back home, because I left South Africa, I was 18, and no one knew anything about me. So it meant that if I decide to come back home, I'm throwing myself in the deep and no one knows anything. I'm going to go hungry, right? So, and then Manzini Zungu, I meet Manzini Zungu, then he says to me, there's this movie that I am writing, right? And I'm like, okay, about Shaga. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And he says to me, can you score? And I say to him, yeah. I'm lying. I can't score to save my life. I know I'm a composer, but I can't score. He says to me, can you score? I'm like, yeah. Then he asks Linda Skakan as well, can you score? And he's like, yeah. Like, okay, we're going to write this movie. You guys can come back home and we can write this movie. And then I know, okay, sharp, I have a job, I have a salary, you know what I'm saying? I can come back home and start building myself, right? Yeah. And Ladysmith Black Mambazo was supposed to be a part of that soundtrack, but that didn't happen. So we put that in the back pocket.
Okay.
Years later, he then says, remember we were speaking about including Mambazo in one of the projects. Do you think you'll be able to have Mambazo and the chorus at the same time and write something for them? And I really took that role lightly. Man, the thinking that had to go behind that thing is crazy. Because Ladysmith Black Mambazo is an orchestra on its own.
Yes. So
the reason why you hardly hear them with instruments because they are there. The sonic is already filled up. They have a tenor, bass, and they have counter melodies. It's an orchestra on their own.
Yeah.
So whatever you bring to them should complement what they are doing, right? And I had written all of this music. Then we needed to fill up the album. Crazy enough, Usuku Oluzayo I wrote on the day we recorded.
Really?
On the day we rehearsed it the first time. And I hated it.
Why? You hate Jesus?
No.
Huh? You don't want that great day to come?
No, the composition itself. I was just like, this is the most boring thing I've ever written in my life. Only to find out when I introduced it to everyone was just like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
This is going to be a lead single. I was like, I really didn't like it. Right?
Yeah.
And you can feel that it's quite cinematic. Because,
that's what Dave said also.
Yeah, because I come from that cinematic bag, right? And we write this music and we had to go for the BETs after we had recorded this music. As we were going there with Manzini Zungu, and we're listening to this music and I was just like, I heard this song by Leon Bridges and Terrace Martin is playing a saxophone solo there.
Yeah.
So it's Robert Glasper Terrace Martin, can't remember the bass and drums. And I was like, you know, that saxophone solo, if we could include it on this, like that type of saxophone solo, and we can only get that sound from Terrace Martin.
Yeah.
And luckily, the person who was going to mix the record, who mixed my first record, is Keith Lewis. Keith Lewis is very close, or is called Cumulin. It also mixes for Robert Glasper.
Okay.
And for many other greats. Is it Femi Kuti? I think he also mixes for the greats in the US. I said, big bro, I think we'd like to have Terrace onto this record, who, by the way, is also a part of Empire. Right? Yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll speak to him. Then he gave Terrace a shout out, and he agreed, and we sent him the files. We recorded it on the road, by the way. Sent it
while you're at the BET, like that week, or because you mentioned BET.
Yeah. So we spoke to Keith Lewis while we were at the BET.
Okay, got you.
Because we wanted to fly over so that we could explain how we would like the sonicscape of this record to look like.
Yeah.
So I needed to sit down with him for him to tweak so that he can get an idea of how what we were thinking of. While we were doing that and while we were listening to the mixes with Bab Zungu, I was just like, luckily we were still in LA at that time. So we asked Q Million to speak to Terrace, and he spoke to Terrace, and
it's so good. It's so, and it feels like, because if you go onto like Spotify, you'll have 2 versions of the song. And I hesitate to say versions because they don't sound drastically different. No. But like the second one feels like there's more shine for instrumentation, and then the female. Like it feels
thank you
so good.
Thank you so much.
And I should have booked more time with you because we're definitely running out of time. But people will have my head if we don't talk about the bops, the raps, the soul and hip hop leaning side of your work, right? Or of your gift. Obviously, I had Thando here in the first season, and we spoke a lot about Mazenzisa and just in general her work. I know you collaborate with her a lot. The Mazenzisa beat was you, right? Like you made it with her in mind, or like?
How did you actually do? I can't remember actually.
Because like if you listen to that EP, it feels like it's like a head nodding something that separates that ethereal. So it almost feels like it was just meant to, like, how did you do it?
I'd be lying to you. I'd like to think I had an idea, but after Thando liked the idea, I then grew it. I think, because I think even the horn section came later. That small section breaking the 2 verses came later. I'd like to think, for the most part, was created and engineered for Thando specifically.
Yeah.
Even though the idea, of course, maybe the idea was just chord changes. The idea was chords and a slight groove, you know what I mean? Then she liked it. Because, I mean, for an artist, I need to introduce something. Even if they haven't heard it, I need to kind of have a small scope to be like, do you think you can jump in this bag? And if they say yes, then you can grow it.
Yeah.
To make it there. So I'd like to think, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can go with that narrative.
Yeah. And the part you're talking about is the boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
Like literally when she performs it, people sing that part. And I'm just like, that's so cute. See, when I say your voice, like you're on the song in your voice. And obviously that's like an arresting song. Like it's something that you hear and you go like, you know, I like that. But I also feel like there's like a distinctness about when you're in that lane that also appears when you work with like Filah Lah Lah. And I'm just wondering, like, where does that part of you come from? Is it just another, I'm doing what I want? Or do you specifically think about a soul or R&B vocal? Do you like...
Oh, that album arrested me. It's still to come. If you're speaking about, because even Mazenzisa comes from that era where I was arrested by my next record, Radio Bantu. I'm the kind of person who can write a song every day. Like I literally can write 2 songs. I can write a song now and I'll be done in 30 minutes.
Flex.
And I can decide what genre I want to go to. But this particular year, I was busy trying to write the follow up for Umgidi. Man, that bobbing sound, just when I get into studio, I find myself doing that. I'm just like, oh man. Then I thought, okay, I wasn't really thinking that's going to be my next album, but sure. I wrote that album, I think, from the 20th of December. By the end of December, I was done writing.
Radio Bantu?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
From the 20th of December, by the end of December, I had more music than I needed for the album.
Wow.
That's how much that album arrested me. And I was just, okay, and I was writing it on headphones in my sister's house, because I was visiting home in Durban, sister's house, in my niece's bedroom, headphones and a computer and a very small keyboard. And I finished the whole album, the whole record, including the song with Filah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the song with, you have two songs with Filah. It's Dream and Come Home, right? You're talking about Come Home.
I'm talking about Come Home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Come Home, is it the lead single? Because it's the one that's up there.
It's the lead single.
It feels to me like Dream, which is on Filah Lah Lah's album, feels like we're in a dream.
Yeah.
You know, it feels very much like we're floaty and whatever. And Come Home feels so like rooted in like joy or something, right? So those two weren't made at the same time, right?
No, they were not made at the same time.
Okay.
They were not made at the same. Filah is actually surprising like me. You know, when this episode comes out, a lot of people are gonna just be like, that guy actually owes me music. You know what I mean? It's just like, that guy promised me he's gonna. It took a very long time for us to get to a point where it was done.
Why?
I don't know, and I wasn't also rushing it, because I'm also like that. I could say to you, when are you releasing? And you say, end of July, I'll be done with that. Just so long as my spirit and my body doesn't say, go work on that thing, it's not the time for it.
Okay.
I'm not going to be good for whatever you've given me. My contribution is not going to be as good as it could be when I gravitate towards it. Right?
Yeah.
And as much as I say that I can compose every day, I don't. I have a period where I'm just composing every day. I live in the studio. It's in the studio. You know what I mean? And some of my closest friends know when I'm in that moment. Kujo from Breakfast at Kujo can tell you when I was writing Radio Bantu. Every day he would come and I'm just like, I finished 2 songs, listen to it. And just like, how? You know what I mean? Because I'm in that bag. Like Filah, likewise with Filah, would come home. I gave her the song and it took a couple of months actually before I could get it back. But you can tell the contribution though.
Yeah.
You can tell me one vocalist that you've heard who's got such long phrases as she's got on. And if you look at the amount of vocal tracks on crazy.
Yeah.
And every time I think I would like to invite a vocalist to come sing, or even Filah herself, I don't know where to start, because the vocal tracks, I think we had, I don't know, over 50 vocal tracks.
That's crazy.
Filah stacked. She really put her soul. And for me, I was just happy that I could give her time for her to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nice to be you guys. You have time. Before I let you get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about the song you have with PJ Morton and Asa, All the Dreamers. And the sentiment behind it is like, you know, put your hands up for everyone who's got a dream, basically, you know, and like going for your dreams. Do you still have a dream, first of all? Have you achieved it?
God has been great.
Okay. Do you want to tell me what the
God, I don't want to be David. So you dig a hole for me, you know. God has been good though. God has been very good.
Yeah.
God has been good. I'd be lying to you if I say like in this path, God has been very good.
Yeah.
Like grace has been upon me for a very long time. I'd be lying to you if I say I complain about anything. I have a great love life. I have a great home. I have a great job.
Yeah.
God has been very great.
Yeah.
God has been very great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you are making a song, like All the Dreamers. Are you guys all together? Like, how do you decide this is going to be the song?
Oh, no, we're not together.
Okay.
PJ was traveling through Africa. So that album has contributors. In one song, you can find there's contributors from 4, 5 different countries.
Okay.
Like All the Dreamers. Sis Asha is from Nigeria. PJ is American. I'm from South Africa. You know, so it had many contributors. So with him, he was traveling with these files, right? Because he wrote this music on the move. So when he was down here in South Africa, we then recorded what we recorded. And when he was up in Nigeria, he recorded what he recorded with this Asha. We only heard towards the end as well that, oh, this is the final product.
That's interesting. So did you know she was going to be on it?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
The same thing with, what's the other song? I think it's the first song on the record. What is it called again? Oh man, I forgot.
You're so bad with memory. Like you forget everything. Like what's that book called? What's the song called? Was I on that song?
It's so many things that are happening and so many movies. Also, I really would like to celebrate more than I am to see how my contribution is doing.
Okay.
I'd also would like to be in the present and focus on what impacts the present could do to the future.
Got you.
Than it is for me to linger in the past.
Yeah.
Because that work is already doing its work.
Yeah.
Right? And the greatest thing that we could do right now is do something in the present that will affect the future in the most positive way.
Yeah. And I think that's a really great way to ask you my last question about the future. Well, I guess it's present and future. Why Radio Bantu? What does that mean to you?
Oh man, this is a long last question. Radio Bantu, as we know it, was a radio station during the apartheid era, right? And the radio station played music that resonated with the Bantu people, right? And because it was a radio station of that nature, people thought it was a radio station for them. But it was a radio station that was a propaganda machine for the apartheid regime. Right? And Radio Bantu seeks to then say, this is Radio Bantu, which you choose to listen to, and you cannot listen to if you do not want to. But it speaks, because how it was also created was the contributors in Radio Bantu. I am the contributor as a producer, then I have vocalists in most, if not all, of the songs. And I chose some of my favorite vocalists to then join me as part of that. And if you ask any of them, they'll tell you, there's no one I said, write this song about love, write this, you know what I mean? So it is a true reflection of of course, not the entire youth population of South Africa, but it's a true reflection of some of the youth of South Africa and some of the strongest voices we have in South Africa. Because then when I look at the narrative, we speak about then I have one contributor from Australia. Her name is Natalie Slade, one of the craziest vocalists. You must check her out. She's really dope. When you listen to the topics that come from South Africa, the contributions, it says, it speaks about betrayal. It speaks about letting go. It speaks about yearning for love. It speaks about backstabbing.
Yeah.
Then this one person from Australia says, you started a fire, right? Then what does that say about our youth? There's so much level of yearning for something, on so much wanting to let go of something, right? Then this one person is not bothered by so many things, is just very appreciative. But it also says something about where we come from as a nation, right? Yeah. That there's still so much work that needs to be done psychologically as well for the youth of South Africa.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I wanted to see, the river going down and trickling down and where it really meets. And now we know where it really meets with these few voices that are so big in character as well. So Radio Bantu is a true reflection, not a propaganda machine, because I never told anyone what to write about. They wrote about what they wanted to write about at that particular time and point in their life. Yeah,
and in a weird meta way, I suppose. From what you're saying, it sounds like the propaganda was always going to have a result.
Most definitely.
And whether you know or not that you are like acting out in a way that was designed from that propaganda, the dark undertones that you just mentioned all feel like fruits of that.
Of course. Like, you know, I was the second part of the Radio Bantu record was then speaking about something that we as males are so scared of speaking about, which is masculinity. But positive masculinity that seeks to serve a positive purpose, where your father is the head of the home and is the protector and is the provider of the home. But when they leave home and they go to work where they are gardener, they become the boy, right? And it speaks about all of those elements. I just can't go in depth with it. We don't have a lot of time.
Round two.
Yeah.
Round two, when you're back, season 3.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. And going back to the sentiment that you just shared, the outcome of apartheid. I was speaking to my Norwegian friends who didn't know what that could be. Luckily, they're speaking to a person who didn't even go to a multiracial school, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, when we were playing as kids, we would play and like at like 4 or 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock even, the mom or the mother of all of my friends that went to private and multiracial school will call them and say, hey, it's time to go, come do your homeworks. At a particular time and point, that teaches those kids the skill of preparing, right?
Yeah.
Mina, ngifundela lokishini, ngisadlala ibhola until 6, 7 o'clock, endlini, take a shower and bath and go to school.
Yeah.
So that was never like implemented in me as a kid, right? And I was telling my friends that the teacher, for me, the teacher who taught me grade 1, taught my sister, my elder sister, grade 1, is still teaching today.
That's wild.
You understand? And that teacher who teaches Elokshini was taught how to be a teacher by the Bantu education government, right? Which means that this legacy still continues.
Yeah.
And whoever created this vicious machine is still winning, right?
Man, what a tough place to end this podcast. I promise there's other positive things that we are going to talk about when he comes back again. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
I feel like you make the type of music that makes us want to talk. So I'm really looking forward to everything that comes from you and that you have a hand in, even if you are not at the forefront.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Ndabo Zulu. I'm Helen. I will see you in the next episode.